What's up, bodybuilding fans? Welcome to Texas Bodybuilding News. I'm your host, Jason Martinez. Today's segment is called After Hours. We kind of just come up with a topic, and I brought my good friend of mine here, Jacob Adams. We've known each other for a good while, even way before Fitness Edge, right?
Right.
Way
Yeah.
before that. And as a ex-CrossFit trainer,
Right.
we've always had a conflict of, interest in CrossFit itself. So I was like, well, let's bring him on. Let's talk about this. 'Cause my take
Yeah.
on CrossFit is, bad. I never, liked CrossFit.
You never really liked it too much.
But first of all, let's introduce yourself, Jake.
Yeah. So my name is Jacob Adams, and I've been in the fitness industry for going on 2 decades. It's been a minute. And as far as CrossFit itself, I started in about 2011. About 2011 to I trained that method for all the way up until 2015, 16. So about 5 years. And Jason did tell me, "Hey, this is it's not going to make it. It's a trend. It's like Zumba," he said. And I thought that was real. That was a bit much. That was a bit. The comparison I immediately.
Well, let's backtrack a
Yeah,
little
right.
bit. Let's
Yeah.
like you got into the fitness industry as a trainer first, right?
Right.
And when did you get certified as a trainer?
My first certification was with ISSA. You recommend. I remember you had it first, and I was like, "Well, Jason got clients," and I was like, "Well, maybe there it is. I'll get that one." And I remember it was ISSA. That was 2003, I think, when I got it.
But that was before we began at fitness, right? Like,
I think I got that one at
at
Fitness
Fitness
Edge. I had a payment plan and everything. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because at a local gym in McAllen, Fitness Edge, it was kind of a high end facility.
It was catering towards high end clientele.
And
That was the idea. That was Mike's vision, right?
and I was the head trainer there and in charge of bringing in new trainers. And I knew Jacob from you were at Cornerstone too, right? That's where
Right.
and I brought him on board to Finish Edge.
Some of the people watching this probably don't even know those gyms existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we brought him on board, and that's how we known each other for that long. And then when I moved to Wesco Mountain Gym, brought him on board, and we became also training at the original UFC
Mm.
gym. So we've been together for a good while. So his background in training is there, is knowledgeable. He's also even got certified as speeding instructor,
Spinning, yoga, CrossFit.
CrossFit. And when we expanded our facility at the UFC in 2010, uh, we expanded, and that's when I remember. I think you came to me one time in the office, and
Yeah.
you introduced this
CrossFit.
and I've heard about it because it was kind of on the loop, but it didn't catch me. I'll be honest, it
He
didn't
didn't.
catch
It
me.
didn't catch it.
But I remember you came in like, oh man, we got to do this. It's an in thing. It's great.
I didn't use those words,
Yeah,
but
you
yeah,
did, bro.
that in thing. I don't remember saying those words, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, I know it was something like
How'd you hear about CrossFit?
I was in Houston working at LA Fitness, and I think some of the clients would come in and say, "Have you heard of CrossFit?" You would go to a store. Let's say I remember going to Lululemon in the Galleria, and there was this. She was an attractive woman, and she was in pretty decent. She was like one of those fit thick shapes. She wasn't like all beasted out, like lean, but she had a nice physique. She goes, and she said it real proud. She goes, "I do CrossFit." Fuck's CrossFit, bro. Like why is everybody talking about it like this tone?
Yeah.
So I looked into it, and then I think YouTube videos. I think I saw Greg Glassman, the original CEO, teaching, or I don't know, some other coach, not Glassman, some other coach, and he was teaching the clean and a push jerk, and I was like, huh, push jerk. So, and which is probably that next to the snatch, my favorite Olympic lift, which I still do. Like I was doing it, this week, yesterday, today. I still love the push jerk. So, anyways, so I saw that and I was like, let me try this stuff because I wasn't doing push jerks at the time. I was just doing bodybuilding moves and just classic bodybuilding. And so I liked the challenge of learning new techniques. So that's what it was, and so that's why I think that's what it was. That's how I knew when I told you it was not a trend. I was like, well, this is Olympic lifting. It's old. This is old shit. It's from the fucking 60s. So
And it is because my take was that I saw it as like I read somewhere it's like P90X with barbells. because it's, using a lot of barbells technique, like you said, Olympic lifting, but it wasn't a high pace type of workout. And their concept was it being hard, it's being effective, you know. And I remember when he brought it to me, I said, I remember that I said, that's good, but I don't think it's gonna be that great because the way I saw it was, to me right away, was an average person is going to get injured by doing a lot of this stuff. That was, as a trainer, that's the concept I saw. It's like this is very highly advanced moves for one, and high pace and intensity type of workout. That is going. And I remember you brought it to me, and did you just get certified at that time, or you were gonna get certified?
So I got my certification in 2012. By 2012, I had it. So about a year and a half after I heard about it, I got my certification. So, and that's kind of the peak was for about 2012 to 2015. That was like the peak, and I think that's where I think, like you're saying, it pretty much. I think Jason had the retrospect to kind of, or the experience to see that, hey, you know what, people can get hurt doing this stuff. And I didn't really get too many injuries, but I had over a decade of weight training experience, and I had enough patience to learn stuff. And yeah, you start trying to do a snatch at 135 and you haven't even fucking, picked up 60 pounds. Well, you're going to start blowing out your joints. But yeah, so I think that Jason was able to see that. And I thought, well, I have more faith in people. But I think that, yeah, like, you see how that's not.
And
That's
when you got certified, what was some of their methodology, like concept of how you're gonna sell this to people? Well, did they teach you that, or it was just you got certified and then
no, no. You know what? The sales aspect of it was never discussed. Actually, I think if I had to break it down, it would be that the way I know what my focus in selling it was just this stuff will make you burn fat because it's so much work. And it does do that if you don't start shoving food down your mouth. They didn't really there wasn't a lot of respect to the nutrition. It kind of went into like recommending the zone diet to a degree. Like that was sort of the big training, but you know, I don't know. There was a little bit of an aggressive expansion mode where they kind of hit this vein in the fitness industry, and they were gonna try to just get as many people certified and expand as many boxes as possible and just establish their market. And they did that effectively. I mean, they did. Remember, they
no,
everybody.
no. I mean, as a marketing concept, as a business background, I mean, they market the hell out of it, and it was. I think what a benefit was it is because they try to build this community, of CrossFit. Like you said, oh, I'm doing CrossFit. Oh, I do CrossFit, and right away you start talking about it, and it was something different than just hey, I go work out. You know what I mean? So that community was one of their marketing, concepts that really helped them expand.
Yeah,
And then boxes, like why do they call them boxes? What was the whole theory of calling them instead of just a gym?
I'd say, like I said, and I was certified. I love CrossFit. I did it for 5 years. The honest answer, I could just reactive. There may be a better answer if you're watching, so you're a better expert. I think it was just the simplicity. It was a very bare bones approach, meaning we're not gonna sell you a fancy air conditioned place. It's just bare bones. Here's the rig. Here's the dumbbell. Here's a cardio machine. Lift the thing. Lift it, and that there's a lot of beauty to that. I mean, still to this day, I was lifting today, and in between my set, I started thinking, I'm like, dude, the bar's still here. I'm a weightlifter, lift the bar. And so like I said, that's why I really liked it. There was a lot of beauty behind the philosophy of just fucking work.
Well, that's
So
what I'm saying. That's what I read, and I started saying it's nothing different. It's not one thing I noticed as a trainer, as a bodybuilder. It's not a training system. It's called exercise. It's just you get there. This is the workout of the day. This and kind of get into it. It's not something where a person is going to get started and they have this training program and then they're going to achieve something in the end. most of the people that started the program that I could see as a trainer aspect of time,
Right.
they started the program. They had very little training and concept of it. So when you get into something like that, your body will adapt to it quick, and you will achieve, faster than somebody that's been doing something already because it's new and the body will adapt. But
Yeah,
towards the end, after a while, it's gonna hit a plateau.
the flux, the point where there was eventually a collision, was the science of the controversy of functional fitness. That was the term that CrossFit really used. Functional fitness. So from 2012 all the way up until, if you go fast forward 20, I'll even go as far as 2020. So for about 8 to 10 years, they really pumped that word through the fitness industry. Functional fitness, functional fitness, functional fitness. And so it's taken 8 years to sort of dilute that word and not have the power it once did. And have you heard that term?
So you're saying that they try to switch their concept of it and
That
call
no,
it functional training.
So in other words, CrossFit is known as, I don't know how they promote it now, was known as functional fitness. This is functional fitness, meaning kettlebell swings, deadlifts, stuff that in a day. So it comes down to in the daily life, you don't really need to do a leg curl, a lying leg curl. You need a deadlift more than that. So one is more functional than that. So that was what they really capitalized on. And pound for pound, I guess there's some level of, you could see what they're trying to say, but now, in other words, having enough hindsight, you could say, well, no, not necessarily, not necessarily. Um, they're both complementary. They both complement each other. But so that is the most, I think, that's the best position. They complement you do both, right?
But that's what I'm saying.
You do both.
So you said a good point there.
Yeah.
Where you said that after a while you're gonna hit that area where you gotta incorporate isolation. You gotta incorporate.
We think so. People like you and me think so.
As a trainer, you think?
People like you and me think so. There might be still a purist out there. Like the higher up you go in the hierarchy of a trainer and a methodical scientist to this bullshit, meaning it's not bullshit to us, but to people like, let's say you're watching fucking novelas all day. We're already lost, some people, right? But the more dominant you want to be in this field of like, no, this guy said this, that's the way it is. Then yes, the current status is that you need both. Yes. That is the current, but that existed back in 2003, 2004. We knew we needed both. Yeah. But CrossFit wanted to sort of remove the machines. So if you say a box specifically wanted to remove isolation moves. Sure. And they really wanted to get into, so CrossFit was this like a stepchild or bastard son of like the strongman competitions, right? So strongmen are just lifted and heavy, and so it became that. It was like a combination of everything. So there's a lot of beauty to it, man. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying, because that's how I kind of incorporated, and I heard, and I read where it was. Because before that, P90X was a thing, and it was hit type of workouts, and it was intensity, and the whole concept was it being hard, you're working hard, like you say, and results are coming, and then all CrossFit kind of doing there is the Olympic lifts because it's kind of the same high intensity type of workouts,
I think to me, the Olympic lifts were everything for me. For me, Jacob, the Olympic lifts was the glue that held everything together. They had their Olympic rings doing a muscle up. That was pretty fucking cool. We brought back the ropes. Again, remember we hung that at the gym. Pretty fucking cool. The rowers. In other words, every element that I loved about CrossFit is legit. I can't say, well, you did a muscle up. That sucks. No, that builds a lot of tendon strength. It's fucking awesome. Tomorrow I plan to do 10 snatches. In other words, I'm doing 10 snatches at 135 for my leg day. Why? Just really, it's almost like a stress test, like a dominance of your body, flexibility, speed, control of the joints, how much power, can you do it? Can you dominate yourself to that level? And so I really love that CrossFit introduced me to that. I can't regret that. I cannot. We're older now. We're no longer 25, and I'm outperforming myself. Technically, I am outperforming myself at what I was at 25. So I can't hate on it. I probably would have not gone into the lifting without CrossFit. So there's that. Does that make sense? I
No,
know,
no.
I know CrossFit now is sort of like roll your eyes at that shit now. I think there's a little bit of that in the industry now, but I can't hate it because it brought kettlebells to the marketplace. I actually started using clubs recently again. So I think that was an extension of kettlebells and stuff. And I don't know. So I can't hate on it, but I think the name kind of got it a little bit of a, because it's almost like the really popular girl that's forgotten eventually because she got too popular. I think that's kind of where we're at with it.
And so you're a trainer first. So you had the knowledge of a trainer.
Yeah.
And then you got into CrossFit. Did you get away from the learning of as a trainer and then just
No,
push CrossFit when you push
no,
CrossFit?
no.
Or
Believe it or not, I think what made my programming special was that I knew what the programming was trying to do. Does that make some sense? I really felt that intuitively, and I think people would tell me about it. They'd be like, "Jacob, there's something about your programming." This is, Elsa, Bhakti, and the people I used to train with. They kind of could see, like, I would take my bodybuilding knowledge and then hybrid it with CrossFit. So it was about building the body still. It wasn't just like there was the science of let's develop these weaknesses. So, I can't, there's that. So my training made me better at CrossFit. So now, for example, yesterday I was training a client. I was teaching her a push press just with 33 pounds. I don't think I would have done that without CrossFit training. But so to me, the push jerk is one of the most beautiful lifts, period. Because it's so pure. It's just pure lifting. So I don't know. I probably would have not gone into that.
and say I understand what you're saying, but you're not saying it as a CrossFit because when people go to a box or they went to CrossFit, it was a set program. It was a
Mhm.
set amount of reps,
The
set amount
WOD,
of
the WOD.
times.
You want to
Yes.
talk about the WOD?
So it wasn't like you were there. Or let's focus on your form. Your form's off. Hey, let's focus on this. Hey, you know what? Let's take it step by step. It was like, okay, guys, this is what we're gonna do. You did your warm up, and then it was boom, 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 boom. Right?
There
That's
was
what it was.
what I know what you're trying to say is like here's how you're correct is that in there was always supposed to be an on ramp meaning some way of teaching people the basic moves like a deadlift and stuff like that. In other words, when you started with a client, you basically train them for if you have nothing, you kind of go, okay, this is what I need to do with this person. But in the CrossFit in a group setting, now you might have Pete, you might have Susie, all at different levels. Susie doesn't know how to do deadlifts, but it's her first day. Tom might be, like let's just say, remember Fabian, he was ex-military, he had more experience. So you have this mix of people. How do you get them all to do one workout and move them through today and then make it economically feasible where you're creating enough sales to stay in business. So that's where I think CrossFit ran into issues where it was like there's different levels of people. Not everybody knows the same, but you're all having one workout. And that's I think where you're correct. But ideally in a perfect world, but that's where the consumer doesn't really want to start paying for that, where it's like, hey, well, I mean, I just want to pay $100 a month. And that's where the cannibalism started occurring in the market and you know about this well, me and you talk about it well, where that's where the cannibalism started occurring because now instead of CrossFit was priced correctly originally, which was about 200 to 300 a month limited classes because it allowed the on ramp. There was like, okay, this is the basic. You need to know these first before we can put you in the basic population. So that was correct. But then what happens? Okay, here comes Julian, he's recently certified. He wants to catch up with Peter, who's been doing CrossFit for a year. He wants some of that business. He doesn't have time to on ramp so he cut a corner. Okay, so now he cut a corner. Now there's more likely to have injuries over here. You're starting to see, and that's where CrossFit started eating itself, where the cannibalism kind of came back. And if you're watching this, I think they say Jason's a professional in this industry, undisputed professional in this industry. I'm a professional in this industry. This is why I say this conversation would be more that's behind the scenes talk, where it's kind of like that's the intricacies of what the stresses that we deal with, right?
And that's where I think that because when you started it back then with at the UFC, how many boxes were there in the battle at the time?
With the very first, at 2012, you can probably count them like in one hand.
There were a few.
I know. I never met a guy. I never met the guy. You know what? I think I went by for a sample class or met him. He used to have a place near my place where I live. I don't know the guy's name. If I get this wrong, just Dog. I think a dog. Guy named Dog.
That's you talking about West Gold.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about the whole valley. Like
I don't know. No, I don't know. I know that he was one of the first.
Dog Athletics now he's called.
Dog Athletics, but it was a military guy, I believe. I don't know. I don't know his name. I would give him the credit if I knew his name. I don't know the guy.
Because I even asked you. Remember when I asked you? Is like, hey, how come they're doing CrossFit but they don't have CrossFit name on their title?
Yeah, I think you have to pay $5,000.
And that's when you were like, well, they're not affiliated, And then me as a business, what did I tell you? I said, oh, this is a money thing, man, because now you're paying what was it, $1,500 for the certification?
I think it was $1,000.
$1,000 for certification, and then you had to pay to use your name as affiliated in your box, right?
Like I think it was $5,000. $5,000 for the year.
Like you would have said Adams CrossFit, right?
Yeah, in theory.
You could only say Adams Box or whatever.
Yeah.
You couldn't call it CrossFit and be in their marketing, website with their name.
I'm sure that they would have gotten litigations if you got big enough and you didn't pay them. But I'm sure that's what it was. But they held the right to sue you if you got big enough.
Because I remember we talked about that. Because they were only, because you even said like, oh, because this one is affiliated. They're paying for it. Remember when you were like, well, I'm not affiliated. I can't use CrossFit.
I was certified.
You were certified. No, I'm not saying you. Yeah, he was certified. He had the certificate. But for you to call your gym or box so and so X, Y, and Z CrossFit, you couldn't unless you had the license, affiliated license. And then like it started growing. Gyms like it's like a wild weed, man. It's like there were boxes popping up, throughout the valley within those 2-3 years, you would say?
Yes. I mean, if I would like to contribute the purest joy of CrossFit is the following. To those that love it. This will hit home to those that are into CrossFit. The purest joy of a CrossFit workout is competition. It made the workout a competition. So you were able to say, your name is Pete, I'm Jacob. Okay? We have the same workout, the same weights, the same amount of time, or 4 time. It's either a limited amount of time or who finishes it faster, right? Etc. So we were able to, so the objective was, and this is what caught me. If you think about these metrics, it was like, okay, it was what? Power is force times distance divided by time equals power. So we had a formula. So the formula was to say, okay, if Pete can produce this workout in 30 minutes and it took you 33 minutes, then Pete is in better fitness than you because he produced more power, the same amount of power in a short amount of time. In other words, and so the metric of fitness was based on power production and efficiency. And that's the beauty of it. In other words,
but that's what I'm saying, that's where it became, to me, as a negative, because you were competing against everybody in that box. And you said, like, Jane was an athletic, but Pete is, but Jane wants to beat this guy, and so she goes harder than she should.
Ego became a thing.
Ego became a thing. And
you shouldn't have been. You should be very careful not to compete against somebody that you know you have no business competing with.
But it wasn't like that.
It wasn't. In other words, some people were working out together, and hey, there's Susie over here that's been inactive for 2 years, and she started working out 2 months, and we have Joe over here, and Joe's been training 10. It's like he's at an advantage, but Susie just did not. Maybe she didn't like. Not she didn't like Joe, but she didn't like the fact that Joe's more prepared. Fuck that, and she's gonna show Joe at all costs. And Joe's like, I'm just gonna win because I'm better and I got this. And so that dynamic created a type of like ego and that. And once the ego comes out under tension, under fucking 200 pounds, you are putting yourself in a situation where you can get hurt. And that's the reality of weights. You gotta respect the iron. It is fucking iron.
Because I remember even when they started having the competitions, they started having the CrossFit competitions down here locally. I was like, first of all, I don't think some of these people are athletically ready to compete. They might have been doing CrossFit for a couple months, but again, to compete and to go and try to push yourself at that level, other people that have been doing it a little longer, and like I said, you want to beat, so you're gonna go out there and push your body to the extreme, where you're gonna get hurt, and a lot of people get hurt. A lot of people got hurt, during the boxes, during competition, because again, like you said, the ego came out of them, and they started pushing something they shouldn't be pushing and doing something they shouldn't be doing, and when you're in reps and you're in time and all that tension, it's too much. And I think that you see the ESPN CrossFit Games, and it's exciting, and you see these guys.
I'll give you an example of the where something like that could be applicable. Where me and you, we've been training a lot of years. You've hit 10,000 hours of training for sure. I've hit 10,000. I think once I calculated, I was at 20,000. When I actually sat down and calculated, it was like I hit 20,000 hours. I'm sure you hit it too. Okay. I'll give you a scenario where it would be interesting. I think it's okay, Jason. Let's put 185 on a deadlift is pretty easy for you. Yes, but it's heavy enough to keep you honest, right? 135, you can get a little sloppy, but 185, you better tighten up, right?
Oh, I mean, for reps.
Yeah, you better tighten up, right? Yeah. Let's say we go, okay, Jason, 5 rounds, 185 on the bar. You got your bar, I got my bar. Pull-ups, 20, and then bench press 185 as well for 10. So it's 10 on the deadlift, 185, 10 on the push-up, 10 on the bench press, 185. Again, these aren't terribly high numbers. And pull-ups, 20. You're in fucking good. I mean, look. This guy's shredded as fuck. Okay? Guy's in fucking awesome shape. All right, Jason. Let's see if we can complete this workout between me and you let's see. In other words, that's the purity of CrossFit. That, right, where it's like you're in fucking awesome shape, period. You eat well. Yes. Where the you as a person, you see that moment where you're like, it's kind of interesting. Well, see,
you don't remember we did the
I don't remember that.
I remember that because did we did a competition in my UFC gym. We were all in hardcore CrossFit at the time. Well, you were teasing me at the time, and you said, "Come on, I'll challenge you this one." And I think we did a. What was the workout of it?
I think
it was push press.
We did one, right? We did one.
We did a CrossFit.
Was it? I forget what it was.
I'm telling you, I never did CrossFit. I never did his class. I would just watch him. And you came up with a program. I forgot what workout, what do you want to call it?
Maybe it was, I think it was a sync. I think it was like 5, 10, 15. Maybe it was like.
It was something, and.
Yeah.
I beat him.
He may have. I don't recall. I'm gonna go ahead and say he did. I don't recall. It's been what, 10 years?
It's a while. But it's just like that, I said, I'll do it. I mean, I'll try. I probably my condition wasn't even there because I think I was in the off season. So I said, my condition's not good, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
I know. And it was by time, and it wasn't by a lot of time. I
don't have that same drive I did at the time, but that's that moment there where it's like, well, that's it. There's nothing. It's very strong managed, right? Where it's like everybody has the same tools. Yeah. Can you achieve it? Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But I understand when you have a good playing field. If you have everybody that, like you said, pretty athletic and they've been competing for a while, or they've been trained for a while, or they've been doing CrossFit for a while, I guess, But I think that when you get your average Joe, office clerk, somebody that's sedentary for a good 4 or 5 years, never done anything, and get into the scene of CrossFit because, Joe at the office is like hardcore CrossFit and talking about it all the time. And she's like, hey, I want to try to do it. Oh, you love it. It's a community. And I think that's what it caught everybody. It's like, it's a community. What happened with you in CrossFit? Like, you were hardcore CrossFit. And you were totally hardcore.
Why did I change?
Yeah.
Mainly bodybuilding seduced me back. And there was the seduction back into bodybuilding was, I think it was similar to the way it lured you back, I don't know. I can't explain it. It was just like one day, I think the training was starting to wear on my joints just because of the amount of volume that CrossFit people do sometimes. And again, that's my own fault. I should have known better. Or I'm fine. I am fine.
Well, it's not that you should, run, but it's just that that's what that type of training is going to get support, And different with us, because
you people, man, and I mean this from experience. You people, you're talking top 1%, top 1% of all people that work out truly count and load their body meticulously the same way you load your with food, and you know the amount. Weights are very similar. You need to know what you're consuming in that iron. That iron, when you push it, is the type of consumption. And I think that if you just understood that, if you took nothing from you today, nothing from us, iron itself, the movement is a consumption. And if you can't just consume the same amount and go all shit, there's certain rakes to it. You have to scientifically, methodically load into the body. And I think very few people in this industry taught like that, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not taught like that. We're taught 4 sets of. So volume is, let's say you do 4 sets of. Okay, let's say you do a bench press. It's 100 pounds, and you do 10 reps. The volume of that is 4 times. What is that? Why can't I think? It's 10 times 100. That's 1,000 pounds of volume in one set. So if you do 4 sets, that's 4,000 pounds of volume. But say we don't talk like that. I wasn't taught like that when I first got into this game. I thought I was just taught I don't know, 4 sets. But until you start keeping track of your volume, just like you would your food and all that shit, you're never really going to maximize your potential because it's all sort of guesswork. And that's where I'm at now. But it's taken me so long because, again, this stuff, what we're talking about, that one conversation, that comes back from, that's the Soviets. That's all that fucking science that these people, in today's world, in America, the personal trainer of America, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been asked, I've been asked this time, so you're still a trainer? Or why are you still a trainer? And it's like, there's such a disgraceful tone sometimes in some people towards what we do because it's like they see it like, oh, you're just a trainer. And it's like, well, that's because some of that is the industry's fault too, because we're letting too many people just become trainers.
Too easy to get trained certification.
Yeah. And again, because there's not enough knowledge of no. If you go back to the 80s and 90s, this is back when, going back to the Iron Curtain and all that, for those people to be sports medicine doctors or sports medicine trainers, there were the elite of the elite to just be a fucking trainer.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. What you get in a magazine, like do this, a lot of it is just like a fragment of this body of knowledge that you're just getting like this little like do this. And yes, it comes from this derivative of up here, but you don't really know it. And that's why it's not connecting because you're not really kind of seeing the full picture of what you're fucking with. Does that make sense?
That's where I think that knowledge and experience comes to play. Then somebody just got a certification right away as they're trained.
Well, think about how long it took me to get that. Like, yeah, the aha moment, like, oh shit. And so that's where, again, CrossFit did what it did, but that opened the door for me to get deeper into Olympic lifting and volume and all that shit, where I started seeing, so son of a bitch, like, this is not just willy-nilly. Like, there's a science to this. And once you can start speaking from that place, that's what's to see how a person that can really wrap their head around that, imagine telling that person, oh, so you're just a trainer? It's like, bro, like that's a lot of fucking study that you had to, and work and sweat, fucking achy bones and Saturday mornings where you don't give a fuck about nothing. But anyway.
Well, I think you gotta set that boundary because us, with our knowledge and experience, is not the same as these new trainers coming out. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it makes a big difference. Somebody, like I said, you come in with a spinning certification, you come in with CrossFit certification, come in with yoga and personal training. you understand the whole,
You start seeing
you
it
know,
more, like the whole
and
thing.
then somebody just right away gets small certification, and then they think they know it all.
Well, yeah,
You
the
know?
second you do that, like there's the little, you can get $150 certification
Yeah,
in
that's
about
what I'm saying. $99.
in 30 minutes if you wanted to, you could, but you're gonna get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And you're probably not gonna tell your friends you got that certification. I guarantee you're gonna say I'm certified. With who?
Well,
And you're gonna go with some. I bet people apply for a job and they'll be like, well, "Who'd you? Okay, you certified? Yeah." They go, "Who'd you get certified with?" They go, "Well, I've been working with Herbalife and watch, and my certification. I don't know with who." And I'm like, "All right, just send me your resume." Like what? Like that's embarrassing. Don't ever apply for a job like that.
Because I remember when you did come to me, hey, what certification are there? And I gave you the top 5.
I used to say
I say ACE.
Ace was back in the day. I don't know if it's still good.
Yeah, there's no, if you have a college, NASMA, so those, I remember telling you that those are the ones that are good, and then now, like you said, it's again, there's probably new organizations, $99, $69 certification, or even that, like, I don't know how Goals does it, but I know like TrueFit, remember how the TrueFit was their own in-house certification, and then you're trained to do that.
I always ask the trainers that we bring on board to be at least an ISSA certification. That's a standard I set because of competition like this, because I know what the market is, because it's like, dude, you're gonna let somebody come on board with a little certification. I mean, it's
But
not
we
it's
but
not gonna take
remember,
long before that client notices like something's off with this trainer.
but that's what TrueFit was. Remember TrueFit? They have in-house certified.
Oh
They
yeah.
certify their in-house trainers. Oh, you're certified. You're a trainer, and then they had the set programs and set. That's how they would sell their stuff. But that, I mean, you get, like you say, get what you pay for. With the training. So then you decided to go more into old school type of training, but still incorporate some of the Olympic lifts.
I do bodybuilding now, pure bodybuilding with Olympic lifts sprinkled in there. Of 2 times a week. That's what I'm saying. I love my 2 lifts, and I think Olympic lifting is very powerful. You don't need a lot of it. It's just if you get in there and you fucking focus on that lift, it's something beautiful about it that bodybuilding will not give. In other words, max explosive power, max dominance that you cannot get in bodybuilding. So I really like it. Yeah, yeah.
So I know it's kind of died out a little bit. I mean, there's still boxes out there, but you could say that it's died out a lot.
Yeah, it's. I think if you. I think right now you try to open up your own CrossFit box. I mean, I think you're up against the grain.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. You better be a fucking purist. You better be. I really believe the program. You better know what the fuck you're talking about. It can be done, but you're gonna be a purist. You're gonna be the true. After this much time, you better not be just day one certification.
Yeah.
You better have a real good understanding of volume and program design so that you can offer something really special to the market where people are like, damn, And I guarantee you're not going to charge no $100 because that's going to be the amount of knowledge that you would have had to get there where you can offer what I'm saying. You're going to charge it 200 to 300 likely.
Do you know of any CrossFit still in the valley that are like top dog CrossFit?
No. I know one of somebody I used to train is going to this box because I see her Snapchats and I'm happy to see her and she resonates. She started with kind of that. She started with Olympic lifting. She worked with me for a little bit and then COVID happened and then we lost touch and then I see her doing it. And so I think people like that, they love CrossFit and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's like I love bodybuilding and that was my origin. That was what started me into this and it called me back. I think as we get older, it gets hard on our joints, man. And I love that bodybuilding is going to be there. Like my goal is to be like don't laugh, like a Michael Hearn or some shit like that, like fucking 50
In shape.
and fucking not more than in shape. Like I fucking killing it, bro.
No, it's longevity. I think longevity is the key. And I think that just lifting and eating healthy, not competition, I'm not talking about being a bodybuilder to compete. I'm talking about just lifting, eating healthy, that's kind of the concept that I'm going to now, just more long term.
Okay, but Jason, the only reason I'm going to challenge you on that is not because I disagree with you, but I think if somebody out there hears that, their concept of eating healthy is different than yours. Because measure your food, right?
Oh, but see,
Wait.
what I said is, do not competition.
Yes, but do you measure your food still?
It's a lifestyle.
Okay, well, see,
It's
you
a
understand. I was saying your filter. This guy's discipline is so ingrained that me and you train people for a living. Look, the second you say eat healthy to a client that's just starting out, they're like, oh, I'll eat healthy too. And that is not what they're about to go do. So Jason's eating healthy is very different than a beginner client. This guy's still gonna keep track of all his shit. I'm just saying, don't read that. Take that with a grain of salt. He's eating healthy. I'm eating fucking healthy.
And I guess because what I'm saying is like not going into stage lean or competition lean, but it's ingrained. Like you said, it's a lifestyle now. I mean, I've been doing it for so many years that I do. It just because I know what I need to have in my body. I know how much I can live. I know what I mean. Like you said, I still have no book. I write down everything, and I'm always trying to beat my workouts. And the days that I don't feel it, I do bring it down a little bit for deload, kind of just say what, don't push myself. And then the days that I feel good and I go extreme. But it's just I understand what I'm saying is like longevity. It's like muscle gain is key. Strengthen your ligaments, strengthen your bones. Overall health. Overall, it's the ideal. You have to have it. And just eating clean. And to me, I mean, I'm not saying strict 100% because it's hard for a lot of people to do that. But as long as you eat a balanced meal and eat a little bit of cleanness into it, your body can do wonders doing that.
What do you think your channel is about bodybuilding? What do you think the future for body? Do you see bodybuilding going up? Because for a while it seemed like when CrossFit kind of took the limelight for a degree, bodybuilding kind of seemed like it was going down.
Well, I think because CrossFit became mainstream because they became an ESPN. They had a big sponsor, ESPN. They were sponsored by Reeboks. So they pushed CrossFit. Bodybuilding is never going to get to that point. Never going to get. We're never going to get back into ESPN like they used to do back in the days. They're never going to have this Nike sponsored bodybuilding shows or something. It's just we're never going to get that mainstream. I know The Rock was trying to do a show, and have some big time sponsors to help that. And with COVID, and then they haven't been able to bring it back. And now he's waiting to the XFL or like that, But I don't think that we're ever going to hit that point. Bodybuilding will always be there because it's an extreme sport, just as any other extreme sport. They want to see the extreme, they want to see how much we can push the body, NASCAR, they want to see how fast they can go more, how fast they, with the, even with the skiing and stuff, how many flips more can they do, dirt bike, how many more flips can they do in the air? Before it was like the first time they did a 360, it was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became a 520 and a 720, and it's like more. We want more. So the extreme sports, I think they're always going to be there, and that's bodybuilding. As that is, it's they want to see massive, they want to see bigger, and it will never die out, but I don't think it'll ever be mainstream.
Question. May I ask you the toughest question I have for you? I think it's your.
Wait, it depends what it is.
Yeah. Okay. We have a plan. I think so. Okay, but it's tough, but it's easy. It's tough, but it's easy. What would you say to somebody that would tell you, yeah, Jason, but you're looking great, you're in awesome shape, hey, you got gyms, and you've done awesome, good for you. Hey, man, but you're still not recognized enough. In other words, they're going to tell you something like that, where in other words, we would all want more admiration to a degree of more clout, more something. Where hey, you know what? There's a level of.
I'll stop you right there. I'm not about that.
Yeah.
Never been about that.
Yeah.
I've never been about ego. I own this, I own that. You know me. I've
Yeah.
always been a humble person, and I've always been I did a lot of the stuff for me, and I think that's all that matters to me. I can care less what people is gonna assume or people say or anything. I set myself a goal. And I got it.
Right.
I set myself another goal, and I got it. I set another goal, and I got it. And it just that's just me.
Let me make the question a little bit more tangent. Right? It's basically the same question, just more tangent. Okay. Where it's let's just say some women might say, hey, you know what? That guy's got too much muscle. Like that. That's kind of it's kind of, I was going too loaded, where it's like, that's more of a simple question, where it's like, you know what? Chicks might say, those guys are too big, or that guy's too obsessed with his body, that kind of thing. Where it's kind of the same question, just diluted down to be like, where people, yeah, good for you, but that's too much. Like that. What would you say to that person?
I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I'm not doing this for likes. I'm not doing this for women. I'm not doing this for clout. I'm not doing this for anything. I do this because I enjoy it. I love it. I'm passionate about it. And I just, to me, is like I said, that satisfaction that I set a goal and I did everything in my power to get that and I got it.
What has bodybuilding, how has bodybuilding hurt anyone in your life? I don't, maybe it has. I'm just saying, how has this
I don't
undertaking,
think it's hurt
how does bodybuilding
anybody.
hurt anybody in your life? If it does, it might not hurt anybody.
I don't think it's ever hurt anybody. I know when I was pursuing my pro card and I went focused for the 2 years. I mean, I neglected some things with my family. But I tried to still be there and try to go to events if I could. But most of the time, it's a selfish sport, and it was very selfish, and I focused those 2 years. And that's what I'm saying. When I set myself that goal, nothing was gonna come and stop it.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
was. I even lost my fucking gym. Remember? 2016,
You feel,
and I was
you
still
feel,
prepping for my show.
yeah, that's something that's
You
something,
know,
yeah. And you said you went through a dark place because of that. That you personally, I don't mean to bring that up.
I mean, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's something that people don't know. Maybe we can set
Yeah,
up
yeah,
another time
yeah,
to
yeah,
talk.
yeah, yeah.
But it's like again, I set a goal when I got with my coach. This even before knowing that the gym, we had it closed down and sell it and stuff. I set a goal for myself, and I told Gina at the time. I told her, just give me 2 years. I'm gonna do it right. Hire my coach, and I'm just gonna go all out. 2 years. If I don't get him in 2 years, I'm done.
And you got it, right?
Remember I told you.
Yeah, that was around 2016.
I started with my coach 2015, and we and 2016. Remember, we closed out in 2016 in the summertime,
Mhm.
and I was still in prep, and I went all the way to September 2016. I got my pro card. So during all that, I think bodybuilding saved me through all that stuff because it still kept me focused on something
On
that I had
purpose.
to
Yeah.
achieve. I was not going to give it up. I was not going to just stop. That's one thing I don't do. Same thing when I started my first, gym. I said, I got the opportunity to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to get it to the biggest gym, badass gym, and we did that in the UFC, the original. And then, hey, let's get the bigger gym. Let's expand. Let's go. Boom. Let's achieve that. So I've always that type of person. I've always set those goals and go for it and go for it and go for it. And but bodybuilding itself to hurt people, it is a selfish sport, and I think that's where some people that don't understand that, or if you have a partner that doesn't support you in that,
Mhm.
if you don't have family that supports you in that, it can be tough. Because it is a selfish sport, man. Because you gotta focus everything in that energy, man. It takes a lot to do a competition. I'm not talking about just bodybuilding, just working out. No, I'm talking about if you're trying to get to the elite and you're trying to get your pro card and the IVB, and you really want it. It takes a lot of sacrifice, and there's a lot of sacrifice you have to
Do you
do.
feel it's been worth it? Would you recommend anyone get on that path? Like, say some young guy, he's
Oh,
watching this.
I'm,
He's 15. He sees you got a pro card. You're the first guy in the valley to achieve it. He sees this. Would you say, hey man, try to get a pro card? Would you tell him that?
if somebody came to me, and told me, hey, I want to get my pro card, I will look at the individual and see what they really, what their mindset is about that and why. And if they're really with it, I would love to know. But I think it's gotten so much with social media right now, with the cloud, that they think it's easy, or they think that it's, oh, I want to get my pro card, and they half-ass at their workouts, they half-ass the prep, they don't give it the full, 100% in it. So it's not something to just say I want to do it to where point is like I'm gonna do it.
It requires a lot from you, man. Even just bodybuilding, not even for getting on show. It just requires so much of your. You can't bullshit. There's not much room for bullshit, man. There's not.
There isn't, and that's why I think that's why I tell people it's a separation from the elite to just your average, bodybuilder. Somebody kind of just going into doing a bodybuilder show, and and that they love doing bodybuilding shows and stuff. Yeah, that's great and that's good. But I think to achieve to the other level, it takes a lot. It's in your opinion, it has kind of died out, and there's only a couple boxers out there that are still hardcore into it.
From what I saw
You know,
yesterday, I think it was this week. I was for whatever reason. I know we were going to talk about CrossFit. It was on ESP or like a recording on YouTube, and it said suggested views. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll put it on. I was just chilling, and I was watching the competition. They were doing yoke carries. They were doing snatches, and I said that's why I'm watching. I'm like, wow, you see this best technique. And like I said, I was like, okay, cool. Like I didn't know we are going to talk about this. So I think there's an international. I don't think it's going anywhere. In America, it seems to, in this region, it seems to have died down, and that's probably how it is in the nation. But internationally, I think like Australia, it seems to be pretty big
well, I
there.
think what happened was they lost Reebok, right?
I did they? Yeah.
Yeah, they lost Reebok after the CEO tweeted something,
He
right? And
said
it kind of,
something. Who even like it was like a cancel culture, and then I don't know.
but that's so
What did he
kind of
say? What did he
I
say?
don't know. I don't remember. And I just remember that that kind of caused the downfall because I think that Reeboks pulled out their sponsorship, and that's what I'm saying. That's how I think they made CrossFit where they were. Because I don't think if Reeboks was their sponsor, and I don't think if they were showing CrossFit on ESPN, I don't think it would have been as mainstream, as popular, as big as it was, because that did catapult them to that, and people that were doing CrossFit could kind of relate to that. And like I
Yeah.
said, like Reeboks was one of their biggest sponsors, and they pulled out. And I think after they pulled out, and the CEO was fired, and everything kind of the whole company kind of
The scene got hit with that, right? That's what you're saying.
it hurt and it kind of went down. But
That was 2019, algo así, ¿no?
a couple years ago,
Or 20. Wasn't it during
no,
COVID
that's
2020?
like a couple years ago. And I'm not saying it's gonna die out forever. It's always gonna be there. Like you said, you're gonna have your enthusiasts who just love CrossFit. It's like Zumba. It's still around. You can have your Zumba, fanatics, and they're gonna still go. But like, it's not like as popular as when it first started. I think it's like
I,
most things. You have a good peak, and after they hit that peak, there's no growth no more, and just things change with the world and whatever, and it kind of just starts going down. And then, like I said, yeah, you're always gonna have those little small ones that stick with it, and that's it. But it's not something that is gonna keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and taking over the whole world. Like, because Zumba, when it came out, it was international and it was crazy. And now it's kind of like you said, a little here, a little here, a little here, and it's kind of just same. It's not. This hasn't grown like it did several years ago.
what would it take for you to stop being a bodybuilder? What would it take? What would it take?
For me,
Yeah.
that I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, but so no one can talk you out of it. No pretty girl, nothing can say, "Hey,
It
a girl,
it
pretty
it
girl." She just says, "Leave it for me." Something like, what could it
it
take?
it come to the point where Jace, it was some type of medical. You cannot lift no more because you can do this, or you cannot do this, or you have to do this because of your health. Then that's something. I'll stop it. But if I have medical that allows me still,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep lifting till I can.
The reason I asked you that is I think that and after all these years of training, to think of yourself as a bodybuilder at your core, to think of yourself, that's what I am, that's what I do. That is the biggest success in fitness for yourself, not if you have a company or nothing like that. Because now that's what you are. That's what you fucking are. And no one's gonna be able to talk you out of it. That's why I asked you that. It's not
Well,
what's
it's who I am. It's funny thing is, I mean, I've always been in the industry since I graduated college. And I've stuck with it. You know me. I've always had that focus, right? I've always had this passion for it. I've always been in the same, path for it. And then achieving, the first, IBB pro here in the Valley, that was like the icing on the cake for me. So right now that you're training at Golds,
yes.
and so you said, what is your goal eventually with the fitness industry?
Man, I mean, part of the reason I'm here is that I want to reach more people, and I know you do too. And it's, the word, if somebody, one of my mentors said, measure your success on impact. That's what it's about, impact. And what this conversation is about is just, if we reach 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, did we impact them? And the money will come with the impact. So the question is how, so my goal is impact, is just impact and impact and impact. Before I woke up today or this in the last 24 hours, I said, you know what? Every day, prepare to die a little bit. Get a little closer to prepare to die. And that's when we say, well, that sounds intense. It's intense. It's intense, but it's true.
It's true.
In other words, my dad passed away. You lost your parent, your mother. Once you start seeing a parent, once you die, once one of your parents dies, that's where it now becomes so real. Like I wear this thing that says, "Time is limited. Make every move count," because death comes for us all, right? And so there's that truth where it's like, you know what? Hey, let's just say I want to go another 50 years, right? Let's just say, hey, dude, you got to start preparing because you're going to meet your maker. Let's just say, I don't have a maker. I don't believe that. Okay. Well, still, bro, like, you don't want to live with regrets. So it's how my goal with the industry is just, am I living from the highest level of what I could be today? And I think I get closer and closer and closer. And the reason I love dieting is a lot of that. It's where it's like, come on, man, like you can't say no to a fucking donut, like that donut after all these years still owns your head or what? And so you start facing that kind of shit where it's like, all right, okay, so no more donuts. Okay, so what controls you now? Like, and so that's where, to me, it's that continual, like, how much bullshit am I letting myself, you know, go through just because I'm lying to myself? So my goal is to live that life, is where a little bit better every year, and then impact that. That's the goal, and the money will. I believe the money will come when that message lands on the right people and the right client, right? Like you're searching for that person that wants to go to the level. Maybe I'll fucking go to the level. I don't know.
And that's good, man. Because honestly, I kind of relate to that. My thing is like, I need to, as long as I left something that I impacted somebody, out of the years that I've been in this industry, and they changed their life, or they changed somebody else's life because of me. That I think that's more satisfaction than being rich and money and stuff to me. I think that it's funny, the more older we get, you see shit differently, and you start seeing life as nothing different, like there is, like and then you start seeing, well, what impact did I really make in the industry? Did I make an impact? Did I do this? Did I do that? And you start judging yourself on that aspect.
Yeah, because that's your legacy. That's your legacy.
And I think that's where, like I said, like I'm the same way. Like like I said, me. I've always passionate about doing this, and if we can reach those certain people, and we change that person's life into the industry, and they change their life because they found in the fitness industry. And I've had clients where have lost 50 plus pounds, and their life is just different now. They're glowing, they're happy, they're doing this, they're doing that with their kids. They didn't think they were going to be like that. And that, to me, right there, that's satisfaction that no preacher can pay. you know and I think that's one thing that we need to keep focusing on is, like you said, our legacy. What are we impacting? What are we doing to impact other people's lives?
I want to find the right clients, because I think it's like you started this bodybuilding channel. I think it's a matter of time before that person knocks on your door, sends you that DM and says, I'm that motherfucker. I'm going to get my pro card. It's a matter of time. And it's just that, where you're finding that right client, that right student, that right person that is ready for your capacity to teach them. Like me, I'm working with coaches that, different, not necessarily fitness, just different. What am I, what? So it's just that they're ready to teach me to fine tune my shit, right? And so it's just a cycle where these as coaches, we're just pushing out what changed us, and we're part of this process. I think it's a sacred thing to be a coach, man. I think so. I think people think of it like, that's why it's very insulting when people see what we do, like, coaches. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know if you ever had a good coach, but that's not a good coach. You should not think of him like, like you should think that person fucking helped. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't see it like that, but that's what I get offended about in this industry, where people see what we do like a little game. It's like, I don't know, bro. I think they think of it that way because we don't make the amount of a doctor makes. I really think it comes down to that. They think we're not making enough money, but I bet you if we made, guaranteed 200,000 a year, they would not make fun of us. They would, even though and it's funny. It's like, but the thing is, it's kind of in our industry specifically because it's like, you know what? I guarantee you would never have the audacity to ask that cashier at Walmart, when are you gonna? Are you still doing this? Right? You out of respect as a trainer human being, you would never talk to a person. But you see somebody like us being happy, getting in shape, helping others get in shape, and you're like, oh, why are you still doing that? It's like,
But
the fuck, what the fuck, bro? Like,
I love doing what I do, man.
no, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying.
No,
They talk. You never gotten that tone.
yeah,
I've gotten that tone.
I think it's
Maybe because you own the gym and stuff. I've done that tone. Like, you're still a trainer, and it's like, what the fuck, dude?
If I don't tell me directly,
Yeah.
probably talking about it behind my back, or they say something. But it's like, I'll close it off here. I remember one of my good friends, Mark. He came up to me, dude, from all these years that I've known you, you're the only person that has stuck to by what they truly love and made a career out of it and enjoy doing it. I've had friends that have jumped from real estate to medical to business, whatever, and they're still never happy with what they're doing. And when he said that to me, I thought about it, like, that's true. Like, I literally love fitness and what I do. So I don't see it as a job. I don't see it like, man, that's like you say, like, oh, you're a trainer. Like, I don't see it, as degrading. Like it's not.
No,
Like,
we don't.
I don't. No, I'm saying
Don't.
I don't see that. Like, to me, it's like, dude, I love what I do. Like, you doing a job that you hate doing, that's a different thing. Like, you wake up every morning, hate your life, hate what you're doing, but you do it. I don't. I wake up and I'm ready for my clients. I'm excited to be here at the gym. I see people work out and the results they get, and if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't. You know what I mean? So I love that. That's what keeps me going in the industry, and I love it. And then I love what has changed me personally and given me mentally and physically stronger. And it's part of me. It is. But I guess maybe we'll touch base to another time.
Yeah.
Kind of get another topic.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Kind of different topics in today's episode. But any last words you want to say, man?
No, I really enjoyed it. Jason's an awesome guy, very fundamental dude. Like, I've known the guy for over a decade for sure, going on two, and it just is exactly how you heard. The guy's very fundamental, and I've always known him to stick to the most powerful ideas. He just sort of sticks to them and just rides those to the end. And I mean that in a very complimentary way. Like, I think I've known him, and everything you heard here, he probably would have said the same thing 10 years ago. So he kind of sticks to what he says he's about. So if you're looking to work with somebody and you're thinking about Jason, I'd say follow through with that. Like I said, you're resonating with it for a reason. Okay. But my name is Jacob Adams, and so
I appreciate this kind of words, man. Thank you. So, all right, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button so you can get notifications on our next latest podcast. If you have any comments on this episode today, just put them on the bottom. Follow us on Texas Bodybuilding News on IG for coaching, CoachJasonMartinez.com. For our team, we got our Team Jack and IG. So give us a thumbs up. So next time, get the last rip in. Laters. Peace. If you guys are interested in some great supplements, link is in the description. Jack Factory, check them out. Good line of good quality supplements. Use my code Jason, get 15% off the products. If there's some products you're trying to, you want to know more about, direct message me, hit me up. Tell you which ones are good, for your goals, stuff like that, So go check it out.